MetaMiner provides the ability to determine what reports will be impacted if someone were to create or make a change on the backend data source or database. For example, if a DBA was to change a column name from customer underscore ID to just cust ID, then we would need to know what reports will be impacted by that change so we can predict a change in join logic or results or metrics that may eventually filter up into an executive dashboard or internal portal of some sort. So what we're really trying to do is answer a few key questions, and this is why you should care about impact analysis. Because bad data is far worse than no data. So we do not want to promote universes and reports blindly without knowing exactly what was modified and where those modifications eventually touch both upstream and downstream. Also, by being able to determine what will be impacted from certain changes across our data sources, we can develop a stronger data harvesting and consolidation effort around certain initiatives like big data. So, for example, if I have an enterprise with 300 data sources, then through impact analysis and data source analysis, I can determine my top 3 most commonly used data sources that have the weakest or longest running queries, and then I can target basically carve out a project of those 3 data sources and push them into a big data infrastructure architecture to allow for better ad hoc querying and faster ad hoc querying. But without having the tools around performing the impact analysis or determining the performance metrics of those data sources, I would never know where I need to focus my resources and efforts in a project like that. Also, for compliance and data governance. So there are a number of rules that many different institutions and organizations need to follow specific to their subject areas. So you have Sarbanes-Oxley, and you have other mandates like CRF Part 11 and HIPAA in healthcare. So all of these different mandates exist that instruct the organization to make sure that when data is being delivered or metrics are being created or generated from their data systems, that they comply within certain regulations. So if we're unable to predict the changes to reports based on metadata changes, then we could be in grave danger. MetaMiner's SQL decomposition technology will take any of the data sources from the vendors you see before you and basically reverse engineer a tree of metadata. That tree of metadata then serves as the backbone from which we can then quickly slice and dice all of our enterprise BI assets, whether they're web intelligence, crystal reports, Desky, query as a web service, or dashboards, and easily determine where those database tables and columns are eventually used in these various assets. And not only that, but who are the last people to have used that asset? When did they use the asset? And where's that asset located? In what folders? Is it in a favorites folder or perhaps an inbox? Now let's go into the demo and answer a few of these questions that we've been talking about. The first one is, I'm about to change a column in the database. What reports will be affected? So in our scenario, we are going to imagine that we are the head of a fashion retailer, and we have a number of universes deployed with a sales revenue object. What we do is launch the MetaMiner UI, and then we go to our Impact Analysis Database tab. When we go there, you can see here in the main area, we have a tree that's divided by our environment. So again, we can look at all of the schemas available across XI3, BI40, and BI41, and then it breaks it down to connection name, the schema or owner database name, table name, and then our tables. So what we want to do in our case today is we want to find out all of our sales revenue columns So we can type in revenue, and here we're actually more interested in sales revenue. So we refine our search a little bit. And when we do so, we can see that sales revenue actually appears in all of our three environments, which we expect. And specifically, it's found in two tables within each environment under the same connection name, eFashion Webby. So now, what I'd like to do is right-click and go to Show Impacted Objects. When I do that, you can see that we have about 10 different reports that use the sales revenue column. And not only that, but we can also see that in our last access column, the report was last accessed around about a week ago, or the 22nd of January, 2014. Two reports, it appears, were never accessed at all. Now, if we wanted to do some deeper analysis, or a different type of analysis, we could go and open up our filter groups on the left. And if we wanted to look at a specific impact based on metadata found in a particular column or schema, we can then go ahead and filter it from this side. So for example, if we wanted to look at, let's say, crystal documents, okay, we can click there. And then now we've got a filtered list, right, which is kind of like a cascading filter group, where this list is based off of the selections in my tables list. So this is a database table called Crystal Documents, and we can now select a few columns and say, show me all reports that are using those 4 columns in the Crystal Documents table. Okay, and there we have them. So it's very easy and extremely intuitive to be able to perform what's otherwise a very complicated type of analysis.